Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you a BARDLOCK build guide for Baldur's Gate 3. So the Bard Warlock is a pretty unique combination of classes. They both use Charisma as their main spellcasting modifier, which gives them a lot of synergy together, and there's a lot of synergy between the Pact of the Blade and the College of Swords Bard. So we'll start as the Warlock here, as Eldritch Blast can carry you pretty well early on in the game. If you're the face of the party, take friends, but even Minor Illusion's a good option too, to group enemies together and to steal from them, things like that. But also Bone Chill's good to reduce enemies from healing. We're going to go with the Fiend, as we get if we take out an enemy, we get 4 temporary health points, which can be kind of nice to have, and Armor of Agathis, which is really great. So this gives us temporary health and cold damage, which can help whenever we're attacking enemies. It won't trigger on ranged attacks, so you want to get in somewhat of a melee range with this. As for the spells that we'll be taking, I think that it's great to take Armor of Agathis. Hellish Rebuke could be really nice too, because this is it's a reaction that you can use, and you can hit with a fire attack. Hex is also pretty great too. Some people don't like Hex, but Hex Dexterity it's decent for a bonus action, and you mostly be using it to set up the necrotic damage that comes from that. So we're going to go with Hellish Rebuke and Armor of Agathis. And then for our ability scores, this is where it can get interesting, because we do have to use a few different stats. The main ones being obviously Charisma. If this is your Tav, take the Hag's Hair on your Charisma to take it up to 18. But if not, I would go with 16. And then we want to take our Dexterity up to 16 as well. And then Constitution. Ideally, you wouldn't leave your Constitution on an odd number like that, but you can take an ability score improvement to take both of these up. That's another option that we can go with. So for the purpose of this, you'd honestly want to keep them as rounded as possible, but we can do this as well. So I'll be getting into the gear at the end of this video, because there is some gear that makes this build really overpowered. So next we got another spell option. I think Command is a really great option to go with here, as the Bard can also cast this as a bonus action later on. And being able to attack and then do a command on an enemy and upcast it can really shut down the enemy team. Agonizing Blast and Repelling Blast are two that we want. So this adds our Charisma modifier to the damage of Eldritch Blast, and Repelling Blast pushes the creature back 4.5 meters. So that's really nice. At next level, we get to pick our Eldritch Pact Boon here with the Pact of the Blade. This allows us to use Charisma as our spellcasting modifier, or our weapon attack rolls, so we don't really have to focus on Dexterity, but we will for armor class purposes. So yeah, use your spellcasting ability whenever you attack, and the damage is magical, so that ignores resistances. For our spells, we can get Hold Person from the Bard, so I'd recommend not going with something like that, and maybe taking Scorching Ray or Misty Step, as we will get some of these spells from being a Warlock, or being a Bard. So we're going to go with that, Pact of the Blade there, and that's that for that level there. At level 4, we get ourselves a feat, which can really boost the character. I'll take Minor Illusion for our feat, and then for our next spell, probably Misty Step, or Cloud of Daggers. Some people really like Cloud of Daggers for early game damage, as it does a 4d4 of slashing damage. I think Misty Step's just a bit better for getting away from the enemy if you need to, for any purpose. And we're going to take Constitution, Charisma up there. Ability score improvement. Now this will be our last level, because we get our Deepened Pack. It gives us an extra attack with our Pact weapon. So this will stack with the extra attack from Bard. Really broken. I don't think it stacks if you play on Honor mode. We want to take either Hunger of Hadar. Fireball is a pretty good one too for consistent damage. But Hunger of Hadar is really nice for just crowd control as well. It blinds enemies and they take damage at the end of their turns. Now the only thing is, the Bard gets a lot of a lot of concentrations as well, and this requires concentration. So it might actually be better to go with Fireball for the purposes of this build, since we do have a lot of things competing for our concentration. So this doesn't require concentration. Counterspell is another good option. Being able to shut down the enemy is really advantage. Really gives you an advantage. I also like to take Devil's Sight at level 5. Allows you to see in darkness, both normal and magical darkness, up to a distance of 24 meters. So extremely powerful, as it allows us to see enemies from a distance. Fireball, it may not be everyone's favorite pick, but it can have some usefulness too, and it uses Charisma. So we're actually going to switch classes here and add in the Bard now. Vicious Mockery is just really fun to use, so I'd recommend having that on. And Friends if you didn't take it earlier, or Mage Hand. Now for our spells. there's a few that we definitely want to have. Healing Word. This gives us a bonus action ability to pick up our down teammates. We always want to have that one on, as it's just super useful. Speak with Animals can be good too. Long Strider increases the creature's movement speed by 3 meters. This is prepared until long rest, which is really good to have. Dissonant Whispers can frighten a creature. And for the final one, a pushback from Thunderwave is pretty good, or Tasha's Hideous Laughter. I'm going to go with that for the purposes of this one. And yeah, you can choose abilities in like Sleight of Hand if you're going to be lockpicking a lot, or Stealth. Stealth's always a good one to have. And College of Swords Bard is really effective, as it gives you the ability to flourish and attack twice. So we have the Jack of all trades. We add our proficiency, half our proficiency bonus to ability checks we're not proficient in. Song of Rest gives us an extra short rest. And for our spells, Thunderwave for the pushback can be decent, so we'll take that. And then at level 3, we get to pick our college. It's like Harry Potter. It's sorting day. So we're going to want to take Hold Person for our crowd control here. And I'll get into why. There's an item that you can get that allows you to attack 3 times and then cast a spell. So it's incredibly broken. So we're going to take College of Swords because we do get that slashing flourish. And also we get the ranged flourish too. So it attacks 2 targets and we can attack the same one. 2-weapon fighting is the one that we typically want to go with. When you attack with your offhand weapon, you add your ability modifier to the damage of that attack. So it's really nice just to have in general. This is going to allow us to deal more damage, and we're going to want to use 2 swords and 2 crossbows for this build. Now, Mage Hand spells will take... I would avoid taking any more concentrations because we have a lot of crowd control, but Heat Metal can be a pretty decent early game damage option, as it does 2d8 fire damage and gives disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. Crown of Madness can be good too. The reason this is good is it makes an enemy attack the nearest target. So that can be pretty good. And it's an enchantment spell, meaning that we can cast it with the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel. We also get a feat here, so we're going to take our charisma up to 20. That's just the right thing to do here. But if we have the hags here, we can take dexterity up higher. We also get the increased bardic inspiration, 1d8. And then for our spell, I would recommend going with Glyph of Warding. This is a crazy powerful spell because you can set it down Glyph of Sleep. It'll target enemies. It doesn't require concentration, just allowed 1 at a time. Plant Growth is another really good one, especially if you took Hunger of Hadar. You can set Hunger of Hadar down and then put Plant Growth on top of it. Everyone's stuck in the blindness at that point, so that can be really good. And Fear is another great spell to take, but we're gonna take that at our next level. So Glyph of Warding, just super underrated spell, I would say. We also get Counter Charm, which prevents us from being charmed or frightened. And then we get our 3rd attack here. So this is crazy that this will stack with the Warlock, but it does. It's very effective. And then we'll take Fear. Targets drop everything and have disadvantage on ability checks. The reason this is so good is because when a target drops their weapon, you can pick it up, and then they have no weapon, so they just punch you for like no damage. So that can be really useful. Final level here, we get level 4 spells. I think that Confusion's probably the best here. Another enchantment spell that we can cast as a bonus action. I'll get into that when I go over to gear in a moment. But yeah, Confusion's really great. I guess I'll give another option if people don't want to do it. Dimension Door can open up movement for you and an ally, which is really good. Bestow Curse is alright. I would go with probably Confusion. Just, it's super underrated. You can hit a large area with the crowd control and completely shut down the team that way. So yeah, the typical way about going about this was we want to be using our packed weapon here, so Bind Packed Weapon. This will allow us to use Charisma for attack rolls, meaning we're going to hit our attacks much more frequently. Now, we do have some options for our attacks. I would recommend using like a lot of flourishes. Mobile Flourish can be pretty decent if you need mobility, but I do think that the best is use Slashing Flourish because you can attack 2 targets. Oh. Luckily that didn't aggro scratch. But the Slashing Flourish lets you target 2 people. And then also with the range Slashing Flourish, you can go boom and attack the same person or someone else. So that can be really good, especially if you got like if you have Arrow of many targets. That's really good with this build. I'm using the Birthright Hat because this would set my Charisma to 22, giving us a +6 to Charisma checks, which is really nice. But I do think that another really great thing is a Helmet Arcane Acuity. So what this will do is whenever you deal damage with a weapon attack, you gain Arcane Acuity for 2 turns. So If we use Arrow Magic mini targets, we're going to get Arcane Acuity, which increases our spell save DC. Now, if you don't know what that means, basically it's the number that the enemy has to roll to resist our spells. Why is this important? Well, we have the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel here, allowing us to cast illusion or enchantment spells as a bonus action. So, this is an enchantment spell, Hold Person, enchantment spell, Crown of Madness, Confusion's enchantment spell, Tasha's Hideous Laughter's an enchantment, and yeah, we got a lot of spells that we can cast as a bonus action. I really like Command, because you can do Command Approach, and everyone will just walk towards you. They don't do anything on their turn besides walk. See, do nothing else. It gets really powerful. You can do Command Drop. You can actually get some legendary weapons early on in the game with Command Drop. Command Grovel makes them fall prone. This is also great because you can upcast it to level 4 here, so that'll target 4 creatures. So you can attack 3 times and then cast that and crowd control 4 people, and it just completely shuts down the enemy and sets up your team. This will allow you to solo the game too, which is really, really cool. I guess also Fear is another one, so you make enemies drop their weapon. But yeah, the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel and the Helmet of Arcane Acuity go together perfectly, so the reason being we can attack and cast at the same time. Cloak of Protection gives us +1 armor class. We have an okay 23. Another thing we can do is, I have the Gloves of Balance Hand. These don't work perfectly here. Gloves of Dexterity would set our armor class up a little bit. And I like the Helldust Gloves because they give us fire damage on our attacks, and we're going to be attacking a lot, so that's useful. Evasive Shoe is +1 armor class. Normally I like to have the Blade of the First Blood on my main hand to give vulnerability to piercing, meaning we would do double piercing damage, which you can also do it that way, because these will also do piercing damage, so your crossbow attacks and your main attacks. And also Crimson Mischief does piercing damage, so both of these will do it. I would recommend only attacking with 1 attack. Don't use your bonus action to attack because you want to use it for spells. But yeah, this will give them vulnerability and an increased chance of hitting critical. And this weapon deals an additional 1 to 4 piercing against targets with 50% of their health or fewer. So you can actually deal a lot of damage with this. Amulet of Greater Health is really good for just having a high constitution of 35, so we could have dumped it. I also like the Amulet of Ball for setting up bleed, but we do get quite a bit more health using the Amulet of Greater Health. So Band of the Mystic Scoundrel and Killer Sweetheart for critical hits. Now, the Hellfire Hand crossbow is really great too, because we can inflict burning if we're hiding or invisible. So you can hide and attack with this. This will get additional piercing damage. Then you can go in with your blade weapon attack, and then do something like Confusion. See how large that area is? So you can just do Confusion like that, and it'll shut down the enemy team really well. So yeah, that is what I think to be one of the strongest Bard locks, because we get 3 attacks and the ability to cast crowd control, which is super effective, meaning that we can solo this game because we can just go in, attack, even do a defensive flourish. This uses one of our bardic inspirations, and then attack with our crossbows. Boom, 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 boom. Arrow many targets. I would recommend grabbing as many of those as you can, because the arrow many targets will allow you to stack the Arcane Acuity, and then when we cast our crowd control, they're not getting resisted. So I think that is the strongest Bard lock in Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I always find it fun to read through the comments on these videos. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you all in the next video.